You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
You can find us online by visiting clearviewtodayshow.com. Or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028, or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right, and we want to help you help us keep the conversation going forward. You can do that by supporting the show. You can share it online with your friends and your family. You can leave us a good review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. Absolutely nothing less than 5 stars. For any reason under the sun, we're going to leave you a couple of links right there in the description so you can do just that.
The verse of the day today comes from Galatians chapter 6, verse 10. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith.
You know, I'm a dad. Ryan's a dad. We're celebrating Father's Day this weekend. And that verse always makes me think about, of course, it's good to help out your fellow man. It's good to help out all people. But God, there's something special that God feels in his heart to see his children helping each other. Like my kids are really young right now. So they don't really interact a whole lot. Holden kind of does his own thing. He's only 1. But when they do play together and when there's joy and when there's love there, it's really hard to describe that feeling.
Yeah.
That pride that you get in seeing your kids get along.
Yeah, it's a special feeling, especially when you see your kids take care of one another too. It's not, and they play together and that's sweet, but when you see your siblings or see your kids look out for their siblings, I mean, that's so special. That's so, seeing a kid hold their brother or sister as a baby, or seeing them like bring them a toy or help them up when they're down. Just makes your parent heart explode. But imagine if we as sinful human beings feel that about our kids.
Right.
How much more does our Heavenly Father, who is perfect and loves us with a perfect love, feel that when we look out for our spiritual siblings, our brothers and sisters? So do good to those who are of the household of faith. Do good to everybody, but especially your brothers and sisters in Christ.
And if you struggle with that, the Word of God is always there to help you. And one of the best ways to get the Word of God delivered right to your phone every day is with the Date the Word app. You can download it for free right now on iPhone or Android. That's exactly where we get every single verse that we bring you on the Clearview Today show. Of course, they come from the Word of God, but the Date the Word app makes it a lot easier. And you can get that for free right now. You can download it, and every single day connects today's date to God's Word with the hope of making it more memorable for you.
Amen.
Bringing, kids getting along, that's just one of the things that God has given us to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
But there's also lots of little other things. We got a segment for you guys today. It's called All the Small Things. This segment we do every single week, where we just talk about some of the things that just bring us that little bit of joy. That
glimmer of sunshine.
Look here, life's hard, man. Life's hard, and the days can get long and they can get cold. But you just have these little things that the Lord gives you every single day that just brings you that little relief. That okay, I think things are going to be good. Like for instance, when I put in a USB and it goes in right the first time.
Oh, man. That is chef's kiss. Immaculate.
It's like you ever seen
perfection.
Emperor's New Groove? When that sun just hits right over the hills.
It is just, when you put it in there and it goes in the first time, like,
you know why, right? Because I'm not even trying to bring the grapevine into this, because it never happens.
Yeah,
Every time I put in a USB, you put it in, it doesn't go in. You turn it over, it doesn't go in. Then I turn it, guess what? Go back in. Don't go right back in. I love it when I slide it right in the first time. And I don't even use USBs like that anymore. This doesn't, and this is kind of, I hate to even age myself, this is kind of for old fogies like us, because USB-C has pretty much eliminated that problem.
Yeah.
But I remember back in my day, when the USB ports were just one way, we had to just slide it right in, and it just clicked right in the first.
Why did age also give you a speech impediment?
I was off on my seat in the war, in the great USB war.
And the war, the USB.
I don't know, man. With all the another thing, I like that this is also just why I love USB-C as well. No more adapters. No more dongles.
That's right. We can go ahead and just make that switch, everybody. Just go ahead and migrate everything on over to USB-C. Just go ahead and do it.
It's crazy because when every new port comes out, it's like, this is the final one. I truly can't see anything beyond this. And then they always come out with something else. And yet I'm looking at USB-C and I'm like, what else could there possibly be? Why would we upgrade from this?
It's pretty perfect.
Do you remember FireWire?
No, what was? I don't know what that was. FireWire?
FireWire, yeah. It was like a connector. It was like USB, but it was different. I think it was used for audio a lot of times, but I think it was also used for data.
Cable.
FireWire. We had it here at Clearview.
I think it looked like Cat 5, right?
Oh.
No, it didn't. It looked like
a printer cable.
It looked like a printer cable, but it was a little bit wider.
Ew.
There, that was it right there.
Gross.
Yeah, FireWire. So this is crazy. FireWire is sort of a thing of the past. if you go into the hub, what we call that's our students' room right now, and you look on the back of the PreSonus board, it has FireWire port. I don't know where the cable is. Guarantee you, Dr. Shah has one in his.
I don't like that.
No, I don't either.
No, thank you. No bueno.
But it's just one of those. It's just one of those rare things that you get where you plug a cable in, it just goes in correctly the first time. I just think it's just something that the Lord has given me where I can say, the world might be on fire, but this right now and this.
But my USB went in the first
time. Now I've saved 0.5 seconds on my task.
But infinite levels of frustration. Write in and let us know if you've ever experienced the joy of plugging in a USB for the first time. You don't have to tell us how old you are. We just shared
Let us know if you're still using USB-B.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's called?
B?
Isn't that
Type
what it
B.
is?
Yeah, you're right.
Type B?
Type B, yeah. Write in and let us know, 252-582-5028, or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Hey, what's going on, listeners? My name is John.
And I'm Ellie.
And we just want to take a second and let you know about Dr. Shah's new book on the market right now called Can We Recover the Original Text of the New Testament? Boy, that is a long title.
True, but it's a very simple message. The original text of the New Testament is not only attainable, but there are lots of different ways that scholars go about discovering it.
There's a lot of people out there saying that the original text is lost forever, or that it's hopeless to actually try to find it, or that there's many texts of the New Testament. But alongside Dr. David Allen Black, Dr. Shah has actually compiled papers from some of the world's leading experts in textual criticism, including one written by himself on various methodologies for extracting the original text. And listen, if you're interested in textual criticism, this book is a great introduction to the field.
You can pick up your copy on Amazon, or you can buy it from our church website. That's clearviewbc.org. We're going to leave a link in the description box so you can get your copy today.
Love that. Ellie, let's hop back in.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text at 252-582-5028.
That's right, and we're here once again in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who is a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. You can find all of his information, I guess, all of his credentials, all of his work at his website. That's abadanshah.com.
That's it.
That's where it is, man.
I was trying to help you, but I didn't know what word you were trying to
I was trying to find all his work, but I said his information. But then it's like, well, you're not. Can I get his social security number? No, I can't.
Not that information.
Can I get his mother's maiden name?
Not
None
that
of that stuff.
information.
None of his library card. None of that stuff is there. So, information's not gonna work. Credentials, yeah, sure, but his work. That's what I'm trying to say. All his work.
Dr. Shah, on this Monday, first of all, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday.
Welcome to the studio.
Happy Monday.
We are talking about things that just delight us, that make us happy deep within our soul, within our
that just make us do that.
Spirit, and make us do that. Whether it's internal or external, we have that going on.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to plug something, but specifically a USB, in and gotten it right the first time?
Oh.
It doesn't happen.
It rarely, if ever, happens. Because I feel like there are times when I go to plug a USB in and I plug it in, it's wrong. Flip it over, still wrong.
Yeah, no.
Flip it back,
and then it
now
works.
it's right.
It works. It's always the third time.
My problem is, why don't they just make one that's like, is going to go in no matter what?
Right. Exactly. So we have USB-C now, which is kind of that, know, no matter what. Lightning cables are that way where you can kind of
do
flip
it either
them
way.
no matter which way.
But so many appliances still use USB
or
B.
even HDMI.
Yeah.
HDMI has to go in a specific way, and it will not work the other way. It will not go in.
And HDMI is kind of obvious, but you still somehow get it wrong. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the TikTok of when you're like in your bed and you're like trying to plug it in, and then like the hand comes out and keeps you from doing it.
Trying to mess with you.
Yeah, and then you look and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's always with me. Like it's very rarely. I mean, USB gets me every single time. It's always going to fail.
Yeah.
But the power, that should never be a thing. Look at that. Look. Absolutely.
Yeah. For some reason.
You got that in the stream?
Yeah. For some reason, see, like I go to plug it in, not right. Go to plug it in, not right. Go to plug it in, now it's right. It should not work, but it happens. I don't know. Exactly. That's what I feel like.
I love this
That's
thing.
what I feel like. When I plug it in
Every
and it
single
works
time.
finally, I'm like, I don't.
What's the most frustrating thing to plug in for you? Is it the USB?
Wow, what a great question. I'm trying to think for a moment. what is the most frustrated thing? Oh, I can tell you what's most frustrating. Is when I have my workout headphones. You know, those are the thing that wrap around my ear. Kind of thing. And I put them on, ready to go. And one of them is not working.
Now you have AirPods. Why?
I have a Bose.
You have but don't you have a thing of AirPods as well?
But no.
You don't have AirPods?
No, I gave mine to, I think, Nicholas or Thomas. I can't remember.
They sitting there acting cool in the youth group, acting like they have their own AirPods, and you're the one to give it to them.
Unbelievable. And the thing is, then I have to put both of my headphones into the little box.
Yep.
And then wait for them to pair.
Yep.
I'm like, this is the 21st century. Come on. Come on.
And now you look dumb, just like flipping it open. All right.
Okay, now we're trying again.
Nope. I'm going to take it back out, put it in, flip it.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what does this guy do? Doesn't this guy have a PhD in your...
I'm like doing this number. I mean, it's like, why don't we go back to like cassette tapes?
Yeah, I know. I'll just get my Walkman out.
Yeah, Walkman out and put it on and just go with it.
I had a pair that, before the ones I have now, that did that, where like you would use one at a time and then it would memorize that.
Yeah.
And so you go to use both and then it's like, I don't think this is right. I think you're supposed to just use one. You have to repair it.
Weird stuff.
I feel like I know the answer to this, but Dr. Shah, did you have a Walkman?
Yes.
No, dude.
Bruh.
Did you not have a Walkman?
No.
I had a Walkman.
No, dude.
Mine was a CD player, but it was a Walkman.
No, okay, well that's what I had. I had a little portable CD player that you strapped to your hip.
Yeah.
And then you
Mine did the radio too.
mine
See,
did too.
my brother bought me one when he came back from England, and this one you could listen to without the headphones.
Just had a speaker on
because it has a built-in speaker. So I mean, I was like the star of the school.
Yeah,
because I had a Walkman, you could unplug it and just play it.
Did you do that
is
in
pretty
school?
cool.
Did
Yes,
the teachers didn't mind?
No, we didn't do that in class time. But I remember this one time we were having a scout camp.
Yeah.
And the way the scout camps went was the first night we stayed in the school, wherever school, whether it was our school or we stayed at some school in another town, we would stay there. And then we would, the next day we would go camping. So that first night, we had a little dance thing, and my Walkman was the only sound we had.
Wow, is that what it looked like?
No, mine was a little nicer than that. It was a Sony Walkman, but it looked like that. I don't know if we have more Sony Walkmans here. I can
Type in Sony Walkman.
Sony.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like. We're like Joe Rogan, like Jamie, go ahead and pull that up for me.
Yeah.
Type in 1980s.
Yeah, 1980s would be a
put
good idea.
1980s. That was when you were in high school, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
Man, look at that. Wow. So did you put tapes in it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had. Keep going, David.
You know what's crazy while we're looking for this?
Yeah.
When I first came here to Clearview, Dr. Shah had a backlog of all his sermons, all on cassette tape.
On tape.
I couldn't believe it.
There's a lady in our church who did all the recording for me.
Couldn't believe it.
And made copies. She had a cassette copying machine that she would use. She's still here.
Yeah.
One day she just came to me and said, I think we're done.
See, I was
what do you
bored.
think? Nobody wants to buy these because everybody's got it online. I was like,
we're done.
Yeah,
but I'm going to miss it.
We were publishing them to YouTube while that conversation happened. So I was like, yeah, maybe.
It looks something like that.
Look like that one?
Yeah.
It's amazing to me that you did not have it because
the other one beside it.
Yeah, this one right here.
No, I didn't. Cassette tapes were done. I was born in 92.
I know, but I was born in 88. We're not that far apart.
My grandparents had cassette tapes.
I had cassette tapes.
With what on them? With songs?
Yeah, with music.
No, I've never put a cassette tape other than Dr. Shah's when we were getting the files off. I never put a cassette tape.
Yeah.
And back in the 90s, this is 1991 is when I came to America. I was one of the first ones to buy a CD player. People didn't have CD players.
True.
I was one of the first ones. I bought a CD player. It was a Fisher double CD. I don't know why, because you couldn't copy them. But it was a double CD player.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. Double cassette, one CD player.
Okay. Nice.
With turbo boost on it.
What is
turbo
that?
bass on it.
Oh, turbo bass.
Turbo bass.
I was going to say, turbo
Really
boost looks like a
thumping.
control,
Yeah, like
video game
pressing that button is like.
Just vibrate in your chest
I
cavity.
need a
Yeah.
let's see. I need
You need like a
some
bass sound.
I
Like
don't have like a bass drop. I don't have one though.
Write it down.
I gotta
Write it
get
down.
one.
Add to the list. But we're talking about old technology, but at the same time of being nostalgic with old technology, I know, Dr. Shaw, it's very important to you to stay up to date with what is current.
Yes.
We were just talking about you were one of the first ones to get a CD player.
Yeah.
Because it's important that we stay ahead of not just technological trends, but just current events and things that are happening in the world. And that's one of the goals behind the Clearview Today show is we want to help you all that are listening and watching at home stay up to date with current events. I
grew up keeping up with current events.
Yeah.
I grew up in a home where I remember this is in the mid to late 70s. I was born in 73. So mid to late 70s, sitting there, dining room table with our transistor radio and listening to the news. And Dad would say, shh. And we would have the radio, you had to kind of get the band right. Once you get the band right, and then we would sit there and listen to the news. This is, I don't know what it was called at the time. I can't remember now. But anyway, Air India or something like that. And then we listen to the news. And then, have people talk. Like they would say, this is just garbage. This is not even news. They're just giving you what the government wants us to hear.
People like around the radio would say?
Yeah, well, my mom and dad were talking to each other. That's just government propaganda. That's not even what's happening right now. We know it's not just 10,000 people died. More than likely 100,000 died. I mean, this kind of conversation took place every night about something, or about, I don't know why we're looking to Russia for help when we should be turning to America, but you have Pakistan over there looking to America for help. I mean, this is just, so these are things that would go on, or some chief minister or some prime minister or some terrorist organization doing their thing, but we were aware of these things. I mean, I remember every morning getting a newspaper. A newspaper boy would come and drop the newspaper in our front yard. And Dad would, once he got up, got his tea, he would stand outside. And this is early morning, 7 o'clock or so, after he took Mom to school, to her workplace. Then he would stand in the yard and just read the newspaper.
Right.
And
I can see him just did he stretch real wide?
I mean, the newspaper nowadays are getting smaller and smaller. I think by the end of the decade, it'll be like a little pocket.
Yeah.
Just a tiny little booklet you can put in your pocket. But I mean, newspaper used to be big.
Right.
And I remember him sitting there, and I'm like, so much writing on it. And he would read, and he would read, and he would read, and he would fold it, and then sit there and read. And that was like an hour-long process every single day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I remember my brother and my dad arguing over political issues, international conflicts, and they would talk about this agenda and that agenda, and why does this country always does this, or why is America supporting them, or why is Russia getting involved? I mean, these are the conversations I grew up hearing.
Right. Right. Do you
How
feel
often
like,
do you think that happens in America today?
Well, so that's
Rare.
what I was
Rare.
about to say. It seems like at a certain point in America's history, when television and media and broadcasting was new, that was the thing. There was only 3 channels, and it was all about keeping the people informed.
Yeah.
And then entertainment took over.
Oh, yeah.
And now news, current events, things that are happening in the world they're still important, but we just deal with them later when we feel like it.
We are uninformed but heavily entertained.
Do you feel like
that's a great way to say that.
Do you feel like that has happened in the East is more like that now? Like that Western influence has kind of taken over, or is it in the East they're still keeping up to date with not happening?
Maybe a little more than we are in the West, but East is just as entertained now.
Gotcha.
I remember when we first got our television. Okay, our hometown did not have TV antennas, so in the 70s there was no television in our hometown.
Wow,
no television.
That's incredible.
None.
Yeah,
Wow.
Because the technology was there, but you would see that in Bombay. So when we would go visit Bombay, and we would go by shops and stores or people's homes that we stayed in because my brother was traveling, or there was a conference or Operation Mobilization, and the big ships would come, and we would go, and so that's where we would see TV, and it's like, wow, look at the TV, that's amazing, and these people get to do this every day.
Yeah, imagine. And I'm trying to think through like being in the 70s. Like if I see a TV, I think it's weird now if I walk into a room and there's
not a TV.
Yeah.
But like think about like never having seen it, and there's people in a box like telling you, and he's really somewhere, like actually talking, and you're seeing it halfway across the world. Like that's mind blowing.
It is.
It is crazy.
Like cricket. We would sit there and listen to the cricket commentary. Well, now he comes from the Lord's Pavilion, and he is bowling, and yes, and there is a 4-run. I mean, we would hear the whole commentary. Or soccer games, we would hear commentary. Maradona passes it on to Socrates. Not Socrates, that's opposite teams. But anyways, it was so then listen to that.
Yeah.
But now, in the 80s, finally, television came to our hometown, and there was a big debate: should we or should we not get it?
Really? Among like people in the town, or just in your family?
In our family.
Oh, okay.
Should we not? Should we bring in this entertainment into our home?
Right.
Will this corrupt our moral values? Because that was a big thing, because there was a lot of junk coming too. So my mom and dad talking, and there was a series of events that happened that were unfortunate. And after that point, maybe someday we'll talk about that.
Sure.
They said, okay, we just need to do this for the kids. And so they did.
Yeah.
And I remember going from listening to transistor radio for our news to now sitting 8 o'clock in the evening watching the news on TV.
How old do you think you were at that point?
So this is 1982, maybe 81, 82.
You'd been maybe 9 or 10?
Huh?
Oh,
About 10 years of age.
That's a pretty incredible age to see this technology coming to your home for the first time, because now you're old enough to understand that this is big. This is special.
Big. Now we have what people in Bombay had.
Yeah.
And we got color television. We never got black and white.
Wow.
Because when I remember going to Bombay, this is in the mid-70s, seeing black and white TVs.
Wow.
But this one, we got our first one itself was color television, and it was a big deal because other people were buying black and white because they could afford it. That's all they could afford. We were buying a color television.
TV.
Oh my goodness, it's a big deal. And Mom's like, "Now we're gonna make that investment. We have to do this. It's a big one, but we have to go and do it because it's a long-term thing." And it was long-term. We had that TV for like 10 years.
That's insane.
Until the day I left. So from 1981 to like 1991, it was the same TV.
That's I remember it was a similar thing. Like my parents kept the same TV. They had the TV from before I was born up until I left for school.
Yeah.
That TV was by the time I left, it was like old as heck, but they just kept it.
Yeah, because that's how you treated technology. The whole idea that you can, upgrade this phone in 3 years or throw away that gadget because repairing that is more expensive than buying a new one is a new concept.
Yeah, true.
Things were repaired. Now it's like
you know what I just thought about? You know what I just thought about? Your plastic bag full of adapters and cords. And
absolutely,
stuff
I still
90s.
keep them.
So Dr. Shah, I don't know if it's here or maybe if it's not here, we can bring it in on an episode in the future. But there have been times where I'm like, so we would like get footage off of tapes and stuff, and I was like, I got no clue where to even get. He's like, oh, I got you right here. He's got this gigantic plastic bag filled with power cables, adapters, firewire stuff. I was like, oh my,
whatever you might need.
Composite.
We have
video. It's all here. It's
we have all you need.
Yeah.
And so television came, and then we began to watch news. And I remember sitting there watching news, and same kind of arguments over, this is not right. But wait, because now we're going to go to our correspondent on the ground, and he would sit there and watch. Like, you can actually see the damage from the earthquake or the flood or the elections or the riots. We're actually watching them.
Yeah. What was it like?
Mind blowing.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it like having to sit there and listen to the radio and just imagine what they're talking to you about? Like, do you always imagine that it's way worse or better, and then you actually get to see it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
I wish I could explain to you going from just transistor radio to television. It's like a whole new world opens up.
Yeah. So if we fast forward a little bit,
I'm not sure if I can say it was worse or better.
Right.
It's just a different
just
world.
Completely
different.
It's
just like a whole new, adding a whole new sense.
Yeah.
Your mindset about the world just completely shifts.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to college. Now you're in broadcasting, and so they're teaching you about this equipment, these cameras, microphones, broadcasting stuff. But then there's also the sense of responsibility that now you have as a supplier of the news and a supplier of current events to the people.
Honestly, when I was in college doing broadcast journalism, I had no desire to really stay in that field initially.
Right.
Then eventually it was like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I'm going to end up owning a television network.
Right.
I'll do it. I think I can do this. But then I ended up getting called in the ministry, so I kind of kept the trade secrets, so to speak, kept all the knowledge I had, but I moved on into theology and preaching and all that.
Right.
So I never had that burden of, this is now what we are supposed to do.
Right.
Albeit I covered elections.
Yeah.
This is in 1992, if I'm not wrong, when I covered 1993 probably. Yeah, 93. I covered the election of Zell Miller,
Okay.
governor of Georgia. He was a Democrat.
Right.
And I was in Atlanta at the Democratic office. I mean, their gathering place where the news came. Oh, he got elected.
Right.
But he didn't come, and we had to leave. So,
well.
I mean, election night, things run crazy.
Or run crazy.
So he was supposed to be, and it's like 10:30, and I'm like, our van is leaving. I gotta go.
Yeah, 'cause you were a student, right? You were a student. You were with the school news.
The school had a student-run radio station, which was just like very, very small, and it only covered like this campus and maybe a part of the town.
Right.
But then the college had their own radio network called WRAF. So if you ever go down like towards Georgia, you'll catch WRAF.
Wow.
I think it's 90.9. I think it's 90.6, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I was sort of like their correspondent.
Okay.
They asked the broadcast journalism students to go to different parts of Atlanta and be their position. So they told me, why don't you take Zell Miller's the place where he's going to get up and have the big hurrah, the election results have come, I am the new governor,
So they sent a team. It was you as the correspondent, camera guy, audio guy, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then there were several other camera audio guys
Right.
at the Republican office and other places.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So altogether it's like maybe 10, 15 people.
That's amazing.
So I got the Democratic office.
Nice.
But of course, he was late in coming,
Yeah,
and
true.
I had to go. And when you're a student
yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
it's like,
I'm out. Yeah.
Bye.
I gotta go.
The van.
My bus is leaving
The
soon.
van said they leaving, man. I got to go.
Yeah, it was not like I'm staying here and making this count. No.
Through all of this, through growing up, sitting around with your parents, listening to the radio, and then eventually watching the news on the TV, and then through broadcast journalism, reporting through college, how do you feel like that has shaped your outlook on current events today?
It has made me more aware, and also made me wanting to be more aware of what's happening. I'm not always as aware as I should be. The world has gone crazy. I mean, we're getting news all the time. Like I have a couple of apps on my phone, news apps like CNN, Fox. I have it, and once in a while, you'll see my phone light up. Here comes some news report or something, or some emergency information, and it's almost become like too much. So the sitting down and listening to the news, or sitting down and reading the newspaper, or sitting down and watching the nightly news, it's not that. It's not the same.
Right.
So now I'm opening Facebook, and all of a sudden I'm seeing people posting things about something going on in California, or some wildfire, or some campus protests. It's just random.
Yeah, and it seemed to be it's random, and it seemed to be the case that back in the 70s, 80s, when you were listening to the news, and I think even like in the early 90s when I was born, news was more or less reliable. You know what I mean? You can trust it. If someone on the news says, hey, this is what's happening, we're bringing you the story, it's like, that's what happened. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about, well, who's saying it? Why are they saying it? Who funded the study? Who did the research? You don't have to think about all those things, because there's not as many agendas, or people are able to keep them down.
Yeah.
Whereas now, the news is at best halfway reliable, because you're only hearing half the story.
Yeah.
Shucks.
Like that's the best you can hope for.
Open up Facebook or Instagram, and you have pictures. This is a family from the 1850s. Look at them, and I'm like, wow. I never imagined that picture. And then it's AI generated.
Yeah, like why does he have a digital Rolex on?
Well, all you gotta do is watch their hands. They're like,
weird.
It's like,
If you look close enough, something's gonna be in the wrong place.
Yeah.
it's like, what do you trust anymore?
Right. Yeah. It's
You
hard.
can't.
It's hard to.
point.
It's really
You
hard
cannot
to.
trust anything, and we're paying the price for that. Now we are a culture, and I'm talking about America right now, of very ill-informed people on politics, on culture, on international issues, legal issues. environmental issues, we are so clueless. Religious issues, no idea.
And it seems like most Americans are completely content to be clueless.
Right.
Yeah.
Because someone else is going
to do my thinking for me.
Someone else is going to handle it. I'm not doing. What am I going to do with the environment or the presidential? Just let them handle it.
And personally, if anything, the past 4 or 5 years have proven is there's not a single news organization out there that I can say, I'm talking about the big networks.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's my source for news.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think they blew it all.
Yeah.
They
Same.
all went crazy 4 years ago. So I don't know what to say.
True.
My inspiration, if I can share this, for keeping up with the news, whether reading, listening, or watching, was my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when 9/11 happened, my dad was here. He was in Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually coming because a group of his church members who were in New York and other places wanted him to come and start a church.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like a good, solid, biblical, active church for Asians was lacking.
And they wanted that in New York City.
They wanted one in New York City. So I talked to my dad, and my dad was like, well, my children are there. I want to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe set up a meeting, see if we can invite people to come. I'll preach, and then see if there's a need.
Mm-hmm.
We can go from there. Well, who knew that that year, 2001, September 11th, that some maniac or maniacs had a sinister plan to attack us.
So your dad had plans to be in New York, not that day, but in the very near future.
Oh, I mean, the following week.
Wow.
He was supposed to be in New York. So he came here, and then he was going to be preaching in my church, same church where we are, different location.
And I imagine he'd have been flying into New York if that were the case.
No, he would have. He was supposed to arrive in Raleigh.
Right.
We pick him up, which exactly is what happened.
Right.
And then he was going to stay with me, which he did.
Right.
Preach that week, and then we were going to get him on a train.
Got you.
And send him to New York, which he was fine to do. He was like, "Yeah, that's perfect. I don't need you guys to come because over there in New York, all these people are there waiting for me, and they will take care of me. And then when it's done, I'll either come back down here on a train or you can come pick me up or whatever."
Yeah. And the week before he goes, 9/11 happens.
9/11 happens.
Yeah.
But I remember this very clearly, sitting in the living room that morning as the first plane crashed into the building, Trade Towers. Second hadn't even happened yet. And I remember my dad saying, "Oh, that's the work of bin Laden." I never even heard of who bin Laden was.
Most Americans hadn't.
Yeah.
No, we hadn't.
They had no clue.
24 hours later, everybody knew bin Laden.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who? He said, bin Laden. That's his work. That's him. I mean, to bring down those buildings like that with that plane, he knows how to build those buildings, and he is behind that, no doubt. And then
And he was right.
Second plane hit, and then the Pentagon, and then Pennsylvania, all these things happening back to back. And then sure enough, by that evening or the next day, bin Laden claims that he was behind it. You saw the video of him rejoicing over that. And we're like, wow. How did you know? He's like, well, I read. I've been reading.
He kept up with it.
Yeah.
You read up the news. I was like, yeah, sure, you do, because I saw you all my life. So that's been my inspiration, and many times I don't do it as well, but that's what I try.
But still, I mean, it's important, and I think he proved that it was important.
That's right. And that's one of the goals of us here at the Clearview Today show is we want to be that source, that trusted source that you look to help you stay informed on things that are going on in the world, things that are going on in theology, in the church, and help you be able to make informed decisions about what to believe and what action to take.
You know, if you watch the show, we're first and foremost a radio show and a podcast after that, but we're also a video show. And if you watch the show, you'll know that we always have the news playing right here beside us. It's not just because we want something to look good, but if anything happens at a moment's notice, we want to be able to let you guys know about it. And that's that's part of our heart and Dr. Shah's heart as a leader, a leader in the faith community and in the broadcasting community.
Right. If you enjoyed today's episode, write in and let us know if it was helpful for you. 252-582-5028. Or you can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Don't forget, you can partner with us financially on that same website. If you believe in staying informed and helping others to do the same, scroll to the bottom, click that donate button, and become part of our Clearview Today Show family. Lots of great content coming your way. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.